backwards. It's weird. Like I'm in my prime now.
Right.
I'm in better shape now than when I was at 21.
Yeah.
And that's also because I do more quality.
Right.
Like obviously as a young kid, you could train like a racehorse. You could do like 600s, 400s, you could do all that. But now it's like my training is more quality and it's more speed focused.
Right.
This is also the fastest I've ever been.
Yeah.
I've always been known as a strength runner, but I'm also really working on my speed now.
Yeah.
So I think that's the component that's really helping me. And obviously when you're faster, things become easier.
Awesome.
It's hard to run like when you run a 300 based off of strength alone, it feels harder than being a fast sprinter that can run a 3.
Right.
If that makes sense. Being efficient and staying relaxed, right? Because in the second half of my 400, that's like my key. That's like the main component, staying relaxed on the back stretch so I have something coming home.
Right.
So that was that component, and now I'm gonna go outside and do technically the same thing but on the curve, just working on building to 30-40 meters and then coming out smooth. So I'm working on like a transition, if that makes sense. 2017, I noticed that I was just running. I ran like 46, maybe 14 times for that season. Like I ran the exact same time like 14 times. I'm like, what's going on? Daniel Harper, I think. Yeah, Daniel Harper. He decided he was gonna go to golf just because he wants more races, more of a structure. I had no structure in 2017 as well. Signing and everything happened so quick.
Yep.
And then before I knew it, I was down there. And I was like, wow, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
But like, it worked out to my favor because I've never had an indoor season.
Right.
Or like been through an NCAA type feel or season or structured indoor season. And if you look at NCAA, those guys run like every week.
Right.
They train, but they run every week, and that's where the speed is coming from. So then they go outside and they're able to, you know, drop these times. So I'm like, I need to put myself into that type of structure, like where I'm running every week. And, you know, golf helps me out. Really got to find your formula.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, building speed was an issue because I consider myself a racehorse. I could run 600s and all that kind of stuff all day, but when it came to speed, I found myself getting injured and all that kind of stuff because I didn't know how to sprint.
Yeah.
Sprinting and running is a whole different thing. Like you can run a 4, but this is 2020, the 400 is a sprint now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to learn, I had to go back to the basics and learn form and learn transitions and drive phase and all that. I had to relearn my drive phase and redo blocks. Like I had to strip myself down to like nothing and then build myself back up as a sprinter. So yeah, like you said, the range is crazy here.
That contribution is probably going to be one of the most valuable things that you can have, especially when you get to your first, second year, regardless of how fast you are.
Yeah.
So for someone, you know, such as yourself, who can run a 60, can run a 1, can run a 2, can run a 3, especially in indoor season, your focus was the 3, but you were also very active on your relay teams as well. As well as many other members of your team. Like I never saw the same relay team run once.
Yeah, everyone had to run a relay.
Yeah.
And like when you get into like the NCAA or a school that has a point system, you have to be valuable. Like it's not just a one event, you know? Like if you are a top prospect, they're looking at you to get them 30 points or something like that, right? So you gotta be able to be versatile in running a 60, running a 4x2, running a 4x4, you know? Because that's only gonna benefit your 100 or your main event anyways. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I was open to it, like at first when I got to Guelph, I was like, I had this mindset like, oh, I'm old, so I'm only sticking to one event. But when I thought about it, I'm like, okay, what is separating me from these other guys? I look at the NCAA guys and how are they so, you know, always ready to run. They're always ready to PB, perform. And they're doing like, they'll run a meet and they'll do like 3-4 events and then they're ready to do it again on the weekend, right? And I'm like, what's going on? So I'm like, honestly, I just gotta put my body through that. And then my body sort of adapted and was able to, you know, run these events. And I noticed that my recovery was, you know, improving, and I was able to run every week. And that was kind of part of my training. Instead of beating yourself up at practice, you kind of gain your fitness from these meets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the philosophy I kind of had to learn. I had to learn it the hard way, but I learned. You know, you got to be able to run every event.